What's up, guys, and welcome back. This video is going to be all about the non-combat movement phase of a turn. Now, non-combat movement is going to be identical to what it was in Axis and Allies Global 40, with the exception of a couple new things that you can do, being strategic rail movement as well as strategic naval movement. So those two things are what I'm going to talk about in this video. Other than that, it is basically the same as Axis and Allies Global 40. All right, let's go. Okay, so up first is going to be strategic rail movement. If you'll notice on this map, there are all these black and white dotted lines. Those are going to be your rails. And what you can do is during your non-combat movement phase, you can rail a certain number of land or air units along these lines in an unbroken path. So for example, you could start an infantry here in Alsace-Lorraine, and he can move immediately all the way up here to reinforce East Poland if that's what you wanted, because there is a rail path that is unbroken all the way down. Now, different regions of the map have different rail capacities, as outlined in this chart right here. This is going to take a little bit of remembering on your part unless you want to keep on looking it up. It's pretty easy to remember though. In Europe, I hope you all know what Europe is. In Europe, you can rail 4 units on your non-combat movement phase. So any 4 ground or air units can rail all the way along these lines in an unbroken path. Russia, which is basically all of Russian home country with a roundel on it, you can rail 2 units, ground or air. North America is 4, and then everywhere else on the board is 1 unit can be railed per turn. So just remember that. Europe and North America have a capacity of 4, Russia has a capacity of 2, and everywhere else has a capacity of 1. Some interesting things to note that may or may not see a lot of action. Coastal subs can be railed as well. I don't think I've ever seen it happen, but you know, it's there if you want it. They have to go through. The rail movement has to start from a major facility, which is any of the blue facilities, be connected over land by rail, and then drop off through another major facility. And that's the way that you rail coastal subs. A couple more things. You must have owned the land zone since the beginning of your turn to use its railways. And if you cross a border during your rail, so say the Germans had captured this front line and they're trying to rail units up there, if they cross the border from Europe into Russia, it counts against both areas' rail limits. So he'll now be able to rail 1 more unit in Russia and 3 more units in Germany. And last thing about rail movement is that members of your alliance or at war with the same major power as you may allow you to rail through their territory. And that's it for rail movement. Let's move on to strategic naval movement. And the way that strategic naval movement is going to work is based on whichever major power you are, listed here. You're going to have a certain number of moves, so either 4 or 2. Since Great Britain has 4 strategic naval moves, they can move 4 units using their strategic naval movement, and units that are eligible for movement are transports and any land or air unit loaded onto those transports. So for example, if we were to take just 1 transport and use our move, then we still have 3 left over. If we load up an infantry on there, then we've used 2 of our 4 strategic naval movements. You could also make a full transport, which is 3 strategic naval moves, or you could add in another transport. You know, any combination of 4 units of transports with their cargo are eligible to move. And the way that it works is you can move 5 unimpeded sea zones, meaning there are no enemy units in these sea zones, or no coastal guns firing at you as you pass by. 5 unimpeded sea zones of movement range on these units. So what we could do is grab a guy, and this is 2 strategic naval moves. We could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to Egypt and drop off our infantry here. Now, if there are any Italian ships blocking our way, obviously we can do that. But that's the gist of it. And the only stipulation is going to be that you leave from a friendly, major, or minor naval facility, being a port, dockyard, or shipyard, and you arrive at any major or minor naval facility. So, using this transport, we could drop this guy off in eastern Egypt at this port, or this is western Egypt at this port, eastern Egypt at this port, or even Transjordan at this minor port here. That's basically it, guys. You've got either 2 or 4 units that you can move on a turn, depending on your major power, and they can move up to 5 spaces, and it has to start and end at a friendly naval facility. All right, that's all I got for you guys. See you later.